In a DWI case, the blood test feels like the final word, a scientific, undeniable number. But that number is the end of a long, intricate process, one filled with potential for critical errors. What if your own blood sample could generate more alcohol after it was drawn from your body? Or what if a simple mistake in paperwork could render the entire test result legally worthless? We're breaking down the DWI blood test process to show the key strategies used to challenge this evidence. The first challenge point is before the draw. Was it legal? Officers typically need a warrant. An unlawful draw means the evidence can be thrown out. Even with a warrant, the law is strict on who performs the draw. It must be qualified medical personnel. A draw by an untrained person can compromise the sample. Once collected, the sample begins a path documented by the chain of custody, a paper trail of every person who handled the evidence from collection to testing. Any gap or mislabeling breaks that chain. This means the prosecution can't prove the tested sample is the same one taken, untampered. It's a powerful argument. Chain of custody issues are often just simple human error. Mixed up vials or improper seals. These are basic procedural mistakes that can invalidate a result. So, we've seen how the process can be flawed. But what if the science inside each of the vial is what's wrong? This is a powerful scientific defense. Fermentation. Blood is organic. Without proper preservation, microbes can ferment glucose, creating new ethanol. This means the lab tests a higher BAC than what was in your veins while driving. A skilled attorney will scrutinize storage logs and preservative levels. Contamination can also create a false high. An alcohol-based wipe, if not allowed to dry, can be drawn into the needle with the blood. Inside the vial, if the anticoagulant fails, blood clots can form. Alcohol concentrates in the liquid part, artificially inflating the BAC reading. In the lab, if analysis machines aren't perfectly cleaned, alcohol from a prior sample can carry over, tainting your result with someone else's. We've seen how samples can be compromised, but what happens if the sample is perfect and the multi-million-dollar machine is wrong? System-wide errors are not theoretical. In 2019, a massive recall was issued for BD Vacutainer blood tubes because they were missing the needed preservative. In Texas, for example, a single manufacturing defect potentially compromised thousands of DWI cases, proving that even the most basic components can be flawed. Because of these potential errors, the law usually gives you a valuable right to your own independent blood test, which can directly challenge the state's results. We've covered evidence handling. Now, what about factors inside your own body and the simple element of time? The law cares about your BAC while driving, not hours later. Alcohol takes time to absorb. This is the rising BAC defense. Your BAC was legal on the road. Prosecutors counter this with retrograde extrapolation to guess your earlier BAC, but this method is highly speculative and can be effectively challenged. Beyond timing, certain medical conditions can create false positives. Diabetes can produce acetone, which some machines misread as alcohol. Even GERD can be a factor. The symptoms of hypoglycemia or low blood sugar also mirror signs of intoxication. Your full medical history is a vital part of a strong defense. Remember we asked if the lab machine could be wrong? Absolutely. Gas chromatography requires constant, precise calibration. Without it, all results are unreliable. Now connect this. An uncalibrated machine could test a sample already ruined by a broken chain of custody or one creating its own alcohol through fermentation. This is the core of a forensic defense. It is rarely just one error. It's about showing a jury multiple points of potential failure in the state's process. This is why the right to an independent test we mentioned is so valuable. It's a check against all these potential errors, from fermentation to machine calibration. Let's review. A successful DWI blood test defense stands on several pillars. First, procedural challenges. Was the draw legal? Is the chain of custody intact? Second, scientific challenges. Was the sample contaminated or did it ferment? Third, equipment and human error. Was the lab's machine calibrated? And fourth, personal factors. Does the timeline support a rising BAC defense? A number in a lab report is not a conviction. It is evidence that must be scrutinized. The state has the burden to prove its evidence is reliable. Handling these specific defenses requires expertise. Understanding these strategies is the first step. Don't let a single number define your future. Know your rights, question the evidence, and understand the science behind your defense.